Several rockets have been fired from Gaza towards Israel, causing warning sirens to sound in and around Gaza, as well as central and southern Israel. The rocket launches from different areas of the Strip have not stopped, and the Iron Dome continues to intercept the rockets. The military wing of Hamas, known as the Al-Qassam Brigades, has announced that an urgent statement will be delivered by their Chief of Staff, Mohammed Abu. This statement is highly significant as it is rare to hear directly from the leader of the Al-Qassam Brigades. The statement may provide an ultimate explanation for the ongoing rocket launches. The sirens in different Israeli towns are still sounding, indicating the range of rockets fired from Gaza has reached as far as Tel Aviv, Ashdod, and even West Jerusalem. The rockets being used have a very high range, posing a significant threat to various areas in Israel. The situation remains tense as both sides continue to be on high alert. Residents in Gaza and Israel are anxiously awaiting the statement from the Al-Qassam Brigade's Chief of Staff for more clarity on the situation. The ongoing rocket launches and interceptions have caused a state of uncertainty and concern in the region. The rockets being used in Gaza have a high range, including short-range rockets launched towards Israeli towns. There are armed confrontations between military groups in Gaza and Israeli troops deployed on the borders. Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is convening top security officials to discuss the rocket barrages. We are waiting for statements from Benjamin Netanyahu and Mohammed to understand the Israeli response and the developments. The ongoing rocket launches have caused suspensions in Gaza, including educational institutions, businesses, and the governmental sector. The situation is urgent, and there is a need for further clarification on what is happening. The tensions have been building up in recent months, leading to this critical moment. The previous weeks have witnessed a significant increase in tensions. The current situation is uncertain, and the coming hours will determine the course of events. The launching of rockets has been ongoing for almost an hour, creating a sense of urgency and concern. The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian confrontations have been fueled by provocations, particularly regarding the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount compound. Palestinian worshippers have been prevented from accessing these holy sites during Jewish holidays, leading to tensions. The Israeli forces have been accused of using violence against the worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount compound. These provocations have resulted in violent confrontations on the Gaza-Israeli borders, with protests, shootings, and incendiary balloon launches from Gaza. In response to the provocations, Palestinian fighting groups have expressed their growing impatience and called on the Israeli government to immediately stop these actions. The Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount compound have been flashpoints of escalation between Palestinian and Israeli groups in the past. The recent intensification of the situation can be seen in the images coming out of Ashkelon, where cars are ablaze and black smoke fills the air. Rockets have a potential range that targets various areas, and Ashkelon has been affected by these attacks. Today, we're discussing the town of Ashkelon, located in southern Israel, near the Palestinian-Israeli border. When we talk about rockets targeting Ashkelon, we're referring to the short-range rockets aimed at the southern towns of Israel. However, what's truly concerning is the Israeli army reporting rockets reaching Tel Aviv and West Jerusalem. These long-range rockets are rarely used and pose a significant threat to populated areas. The border towns near Gaza are the closest to rocket fire, and efforts are made to prevent smuggling of arms and weapons into Gaza. The rockets launched from Gaza are mostly locally made, and military groups proudly showcase their new creations. Despite Israeli efforts to stem the flow of weapons into Gaza, there remains a constant influx of arms. These rockets pose a serious threat to the region, and it's crucial to address the issue of smuggling and arms proliferation.
As a resident of Gaza, waking up to the sound of rockets being fired was a terrifying experience. Living in Gaza, we can see the rockets being launched from the sky above our heads. The small size of the Gaza Strip makes it impossible to miss the rockets being fired. The sight of rockets, the sound they make, and the smoke covering the sky are all frightening scenes for the people of Gaza. Last night, people slept calmly, unaware of the unexpected escalation that was about to happen. In Gaza, any firing of rockets brings fear of a larger escalation or war among the residents. The conditions in Gaza are already difficult, with the population living under ongoing Israeli blockade for over 16 years. The tension, worry, and fear among the people of Gaza are extremely high. Unlike other places in the world, people in Gaza cannot simply leave until things calm down. Traveling and seeking refuge is not an option for the residents of Gaza. In times like these, there is always a great amount of fear and uncertainty about what will happen next.
The people in the streets are clear: they do not want to experience another war. After the loss and devastation of previous wars, they are not ready to go through it again. As tensions rise, people are preparing for the Israeli response. Shops and supermarkets remain closed, with people staying home for safety. There have been calls for supermarkets to open for a few hours, but this leads to a shortage of food supplies. People are stocking up on essential supplies, fearing that things may get worse. The crisis in Gaza is evident, with a shortage of food supplies for the population. The situation is tense as rockets continue to be fired, causing further distress. The people of Gaza are living in uncertainty, hoping for peace and stability. Warning sirens have been sounded in and around Gaza as well as central and southern Israel. Reports indicate a significant number of rockets being fired simultaneously, with more rockets still being launched. The Al-Assan Brigade is expected to release a statement regarding the ongoing situation. Pictures show a line of cars ablaze and black smoke billowing up into the air in Ashdod, the closest town to the Israeli border. Short-range rockets are believed to have caused the damage in Ashdod, while there are also reports of long-range rockets reaching West Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Residents woke up to the sound of rockets being fired from various areas across the Gaza Strip. Both high-range and short-range rockets were launched, according to the Israeli army. The situation is tense, as rockets continue to be fired from different locations. The Chief of Staff is scheduled to address the situation soon, which is noteworthy as statements from the Al-Assan Brigade are rare in such circumstances.
The morning started with a barrage of rockets being fired across the Gaza Strip, causing concern and fear among the residents. Rockets have breached Tel Aviv and West Jerusalem, causing tension between Israel and the Palestinian fighting groups.
These rockets are rarely used, only during complicated situations. Barrages of rockets are still being launched from the Gaza Strip. The Iron Dome rockets intercept the rocket launchers in the Gaza skies. Armed confrontations have occurred between Israeli soldiers and Palestinian fighters along the Israeli-Palestinian border. We are waiting for major statements from Benjamin Netanyahu and the Chief of Staff to understand the current situation. Benjamin Netanyahu will convene top security officials in the coming hours. The Israeli military response is expected to be strong, possibly through airstrikes. Similar military responses have been seen in the past. The situation remains tense in occupied East Jerusalem. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced the appointment of top security officials in response to the recent rocket attacks. In the past, Israel has responded to such scenarios with airstrikes, targeting key officials and military members. The rockets launched from Gaza have reached as far as Tel Aviv, about 70 kilometers away, causing air raid alarms to sound. These attacks come at a poignant time, as today marks the end of the week-long Shvat holiday, one of the major Jewish holidays. Yesterday, on the 50th anniversary of the 1973 war, Israel was attacked by Egypt and Syria, leading to 3 months of conflict. The Jewish calendar considers Yom Kippur as one of the most solemn days, making the surprise attack even more shocking.
During this holiday, Jews least expected such an event to occur, but tensions have been extremely high.
In recent years, the occupied territories have experienced a surge in violence, resulting in the highest number of Palestinian deaths in decades. More than 250 Palestinians have lost their lives, with the West Bank and East Jerusalem being heavily affected. Israeli forces have intensified home demolitions and raids, causing daily hardships for Palestinians. The Israeli government's hardline approach has contributed to the tense atmosphere, with the National Security Minister urging Israelis to arm themselves. Armed groups have also emerged, particularly in places like Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Authority's recent entry into an area of the occupied West Bank has further escalated tensions. This endless cycle of violence often sees rockets being fired from Gaza into Israel. Israel is actively seeking to normalize relations with Arab countries, such as Saudi Arabia, which is undergoing significant changes. Saudi Arabia aims to become more westernized, attract tourists, and diversify its economy away from oil. One way Saudi Arabia may achieve this is by moving towards normalizing relations with Israel. Israel is eager to establish closer ties with Arab nations and has the support of its long-standing ally, the United States. U.S. President Joe Biden is particularly interested in leaving a legacy of improved relations between Israel and Arab countries. The Arab world has undergone significant changes in its relationship with Israel, which was previously unthinkable. The Palestinian cause has historically united Arab countries, despite other disagreements. However, there is an increasing trend towards normalizing relations with Israel, shifting the dynamics in the region. The politics of the region are evolving, and the Palestinian cause may no longer be the sole unifying factor.
Countries like the UAE are opening up to Israel for business and exploring opportunities in natural gas reserves in the Gaza area.
Over the past 50 years, Israel has become more emboldened, while Palestinians feel forgotten and question the possibility of a two-state solution. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to convene a meeting of senior officials to address the situation. Given the magnitude of this incident and Netanyahu's recent scramble to regain power, his response may not be immediate. Netanyahu, who has served as Israel's longest-serving prime minister, needed a coalition government to return to power. Despite efforts from Palestinian and Israeli leaders, doubts persist about the feasibility of a two-state solution. The changing dynamics in the region have led to increased interest from other Arab countries in exploring opportunities with Israel. The October 6th war has played a significant role in shaping the region's geopolitical landscape over the past 50 years. While Israel's relations with other countries are strengthening, Palestinians continue to feel marginalized and forgotten. The future of a two-state solution remains uncertain, despite the rhetoric from leaders and the U.S. administration.
In this investigation, we delve into a trial and the potential return to power. However, it seems the only way to achieve this is through a coalition government with hardline, ultra-right-wing members who are pushing for the expansion of illegal Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, further squeezing the Palestinians.
The situation remains uncertain, with no immediate response. Israeli airstrikes on Gaza may be imminent, as preliminary reports suggest infiltrations by Palestinian gunmen from Gaza across the border. Typically, barrages from Gaza do not coincide with infiltrations. This unprecedented event, including the presence of fighters on Jewish rooftops, could potentially escalate into a major war. The current state of affairs is concerning. Rockets are being fired, and tensions, flames and black smoke billow into the sky as rockets are fired from Gaza towards Israel. Warning sirens have been sounding in and around Gaza, as well as central and southern Israel, for over an hour. Tensions are high due to recent attacks by Palestinians, including lone wolf incidents. Criticism towards the government has grown, with calls for more action to be taken. The situation has escalated with rockets being fired from the besieged Palestinian enclave. The Al-Assan brigades are expected to release an emergency statement soon. The Chief of Staff is also expected to address the situation. Recent attacks include a Palestinian ramming into an Israeli family at a bus stop. There was also an attack outside a Jewish synagogue.
The government has faced criticism for not acting fast enough in response to these incidents. Many young Palestinians in occupied East Jerusalem are feeling disillusioned and restricted in their movements, lacking basic services that should be provided by the government. The current government's increasing hardline stance against Palestinians has left many young male Palestinians feeling hopeless about their future. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the holiest sites in Islam, has been a source of tension, with some Palestinians being prevented from entering while ultra-Orthodox Jews are allowed in by Israeli security forces. Tensions are high on the streets, with constant checks and profiling of young boys in occupied East Jerusalem, adding to the frustration felt by Palestinians. Under the current government, many Palestinians feel that there is no hope for them to move forward and have their human rights respected. Palestinian prisoners in Israeli prisons are resorting to hunger strikes as they await trial dates, highlighting the lack of due process and uncertainty they face. The demolition of homes by association, even if someone is associated with an attack, has made life increasingly harder for Palestinians. In refugee camps in the occupied West Bank, armed Palestinians feel that resistance is their only option against the ongoing occupation. As the conflict continues in Gaza, rockets are being fired towards Israel, causing chaos and destruction. Ascalon, a regular target for rockets from Gaza, is experiencing car fires and black smoke filling the air. The short-range rockets from Gaza have also reached as far as West Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Contrails of rockets firing through the sky and puffs of smoke can be seen in the area.